Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Why learn Gurmukhi? Very good question. Now, a lot of the people that are coming into Sikhi are going to be asking the same question. Now, the first assumption is that you actually are a Sikh and you want to follow Guru's hukum. Yeah, that's the most important thing. A Sikh is trying to follow Guru's hukum, and Guru's hukum is to learn Gurmukhi. Maharaj has actually ordered us to go and learn how to read, to sing, to write even Gurmukhi letters. And actually, to understand the history of Gurmukhi, Guru Angad Dev Ji themselves set up the letters that we see now. There were pre-existing scripts, but what we see now as Gurmukhi was actually codified by Guru Angad Dev Ji Maharaj. And actually, what's even more interesting is majority of the 35 letters of Gurmukhi, they're in the same order as where Guru Nanak Dev Ji themselves, when they were 7 years old, wrote down the Patti Shabad. So this is Guru's hukum, and this is the system that has been set up by Guru. Guru Sahib actually made Gurmukhi very easy to learn. In terms of writing, in terms of how the system works, it's actually easier than both Hindi and Sanskrit. So Maharaj has made a very simple language, and they've made it so that it can be taught to the masses. And Guru Sahib themselves, Guru Angad Dev Ji and Khadur Sahib, would have been teaching Gurmukhi to all the new Sikhs. And a good example from our history which proves that Sikhs always learnt Gurmukhi is Banda Singh Bahadur. He only stayed a very little bit of time with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and as he was marching up towards Sirhind, his hukamname that he sends out from the Khalsa, he actually writes them in Gurmukhi as well. So he would have learnt it as well. And two other things direct from Guru's orders. Firstly, Guru Gobind Singh Ji in one of their hukams makes it clear that the Sikhs should learn Gurmukhi from each other. And also, if we look at the Sikh Riyat Maryada, it says in there very clearly that a Sikh should learn Gurmukhi. So, if we are a Sikh and we want to follow Guru's hukum, we have to learn Gurmukhi. The other assumption we can think about as a Sikh is we want to understand Gurbani better. Is our Guru's words, right? And if we want to understand Gurbani, then we have to learn Gurmukhi. Why is that? Firstly, the translations we see on the Sikhi to the Max and those places, they are imperfect. One of the main reasons they're imperfect is because the person who is trying to give an explanation of that line in Gurbani is trying to condense that translation into maybe one line or two lines, because obviously we're going to be reading through, we can't have a whole paragraph of text to read through. These are not Guru's exact words. When we read the translation, actually it's the translator's own biases injected into there. There's some words that can't adequately be translated in English. Also, it depends on the spiritual state of the person who's translating that, as if they understand the different meanings. And we don't always know the background of the person who's translated this for us. You know, Gurbani is poetry. It's not written in prose, it's not essays, it's poems, it's hymns, it's shabads, they're meant to be sung. Now what happens if you translate poetry? You lose something, you lose the poetry. The beauty of Guru's poetry, the beauty of the Bani that's coming out gets totally lost if we translate it. So being able to understand Gurbani, it's important for us to learn the original words, right? And so if we can read them ourselves, we can actually understand them much better. Now somebody might say, you know what, I understand that we have to sing Gurbani. It's not enough to rely upon the translations. However, I can rely upon the transliterations, the Romanized version of Gurmukhi. Now, I want to address this. Actually, the Romanized version of Gurbani is like a crutch. You know, we're injured, yeah, we can't walk, so we use a crutch. After some time, what's going to happen is that crutch will become something that we don't need anymore because we're better. But unfortunately, until we start walking on Gurmukhi, we're forever going to be using the crutch of Romanization. And I'm going to go into some reasons why I don't think it's very good for us to try to use these Romanizations for too long. Initially, it might be helpful, but over time we need to get on to Gurmukhi itself. So one of the reasons why we can't just rely upon the transliterations is the fact that in Gurmukhi, there's more letters than there are in English. For example, there's 4 Ds, there's 3 Ts. How do we represent that in Roman letters? We just can't. English doesn't have that. So what happens is that whoever's writing it, they end up giving some kind of their own version of how to write this. Yeah, and the person who's reading it is bound to make mistakes because they won't know exactly which one it is. So by learning Gurmukhi, you will actually end up pronouncing it much better. And you know what? It's not just D's and T's, but actually the vowels themselves, the I, E, U, those sounds, they can't be translated to English that well either. what you end up with is some kind of some people writing two E's to mean a long E, some people writing a little E to mean a lav. It's just not consistent. And what will happen is, when you pick up a new gurkha, you'll have a whole new person's perspective on how to Romanize it. There's even some sounds that are not even in English whatsoever, like r. R doesn't exist in English. It sounds like r or it sounds like d, but it's neither of those. It's something different. How will you represent that written down? Somebody might misunderstand what you're trying to say, but by using the Gurmukhi letter only for ra, then you are, it's unmistakably that letter. And so actually we're better off using Gurmukhi letters. Even if you were to stick to listening to Gurbani, right, there's still going to be some things that you can get wrong just by listening to it or reading it, because there's some things that are in the meaning of the word, how it's written in Gurmukhi, that are not pronounced, because you don't pronounce every vowel, every letter in Gurmukhi, or at least you don't pronounce it in a massive way. It's just a hint given at it. So I'll give you a good example from Japji Sahib. It says Vingun kite pagat na hoy. Now the word pagat can mean the person who is doing bhakti, somebody who is a worshipper, but actually here it's not used as worshipper, it's actually bhakti, to worship. So what it's saying is, without being a good person, without having the gun, some of the qualities of godliness, i.e. compassion, justice, truth, these things, we can't actually worship God. Which makes sense, because you can't be a bad person and consistently do bad stuff and be a hateful person and still be able to get away with spiritual development. You have to be a good person first. And if you were to read that by listening to it and reading the Romanization, you would miss that exact meaning, because bhakti and bhagat are very different words and they mean different things. So that's not pronounced, but it's there. That's the word is bhakti, but it's pronounced as bhagat. The final thing is something very important to all Sikhs. We want to be independent. We want to be able to do things for ourselves. And actually, if you stick to the Romanizations and the transliterations, what's going to happen is you're always going to be relying upon somebody else to translate that word, to transliterate it properly, to have a set rule. You can't just go up and pick up a new gurkha and expect that that's going to have Romanization in it. What you see is, you get people who are do Romanization only. They're always looking for that right gurkha that has the Romanization. What if somebody decides to do a new part, and a prayer like Ram Ki Var, or some other vars that you haven't done before, then you won't be able to find the gurkha that has that transliteration. So you're going to be sitting there listening. You can't actually get that yourself. You may have it on your phone, but even then the rules are going to be different on each app. So it gives you independence. If you can learn Gurmukhi, and it's not so hard, as we're going to go through this, then actually you're free then to do two things. Learn any gurkha or pick up any part you want, but also you can go and take Hukamname from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. You can sit down, you can read the Hukum that Guru Sahib gives you. If you go to a Gurdwara and there's a program going on, or if you go to a Gurdwara, there's no one there, and you want to speak to your Guru, you can still do that. You're independent, you see. But if you're stuck to Romanization, it's going to be very hard for you to do that. So by actually learning Gurmukhi, we're going to end up building a much deeper and closer relationship to Gurbani, which is our Guru. Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani. Which Bani Amrit Sare. If it's so powerful, if it's got all of Amrit inside it, then we should be doing our best to learn the original. Gurbani has power inside it, right? Gurmukh Nadang, Gurmukh Vedang, Gurmukh Rehasamai. Gurmukhi has Nad and Ved, wisdom, and actually the sound of Gurbani is very powerful. Even when you read parts that you don't understand, it can still have an effect upon you. And the reason is because the Nad is so powerful. And actually, if we don't get the Nad right, we're actually missing out on some of the power of Gurbani, because it's meant to sound a certain way and it affects us, but we're not doing it the right way. Now some people will say, so what if I say it a little bit wrong? If I get my D's and T's a bit confused, my Guru's forgiving, he'll forgive me, it's alright. I think it's important to address that point. It's a very good point. Now, yes, Maharaj is Mehervan, they are compassionate, they are forgiving. However, their hukum is to learn Gurbani, right? If they're telling us to learn Gurmukhi, and yet we're not learning it, why will they forgive us? If we try and we make mistakes while we're trying, then of course Maharaj will forgive us. But if we haven't even bothered, we're just taking it easy and we think, you know what, it's alright, he's going to forgive me, then actually we're not giving him respect. We're abusing the love and compassion that he has for us. We're taking him for granted. He's telling us to read it, and we're like, it's okay, it doesn't matter if I don't listen to you, because you're going to forgive me anyway. And that's not a very respectful attitude to take towards our Guru. Two stories that I want to bring up. And the first one is Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. When they were once in Darbar, they asked their Sikhs, is there any Sikh who has Japji Sahib memorized properly, who can do the Santhya of it properly? Santhya means to pronounce Gurbani properly. And one Sikh stood up, and he said, Maharaj, I can. And when he was reading Japji Sahib, he read it so beautifully, with such correct pronunciation. The Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was just thinking, what can I award this Sikh for doing it so properly? What is I can give him? And they were like, Japji Sahib is Guru Nanak Dev Ji's first Bani. It's the most powerful Bani that we have. It's the very beginning of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The only thing that is worthy of this person's hard work is the Guru Gaddi itself. And they were going to give the Guruship to this person. Now, I don't want to go into deep depth of that story, but that person basically ended up having a desire inside him for something else. And Guru Sahib realized that he was still in the 5 things. He was still affected by, his desires. So they gave him what he desired, but he didn't get the Guruship. So the importance is there. But also, there's a story from Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time when a Sikh was reading a part called Dakhni Oankar. Basically, he mispronounced the word. He said Ke Jane Guru Sura instead of Kya Jane Guru Sura. And that changed the whole meaning of the word. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji heard this Sikh pronouncing this line wrong. And actually, he got someone to go up and give him a clip on the ear. And the person said to Guruji, Guru Sahib, I'm trying to read your part and I got punished. Instead of being blessed for reading the part, I got punished. Maharaj said, because you didn't take the instruction on how to read that part properly. You didn't make the effort to actually learn Gurmukhi properly, and that's why when you were saying it, you said it totally wrong. Instead of saying that Guru Sahib knows the meaning, you said, what does Guru Sahib know? And that's a big difference. So the hukum has come, and Guru Gobind Singh themselves set up schools, like for example Damdami Taksal, to teach people how to read and how to pronounce Gurmukhi. Even if we understand the power of the sound is so important, and also that the respect for Guru Sahib should be there for the hukum, so we should learn it. There's one very interesting point about Gurmukhi that will make us want to learn Gurmukhi, because actually Gurmukhi is revelation. These are God's direct words to our Gurus. It's coming out of their mouth, but they're words from God. As Guru Ramdas Ji tells us, Satgur ki bani sat sat kar jano gur sikho har karta aap moh kadai. Waheguru themselves are taking these words out of Guru's mouth. So as Guru Sahib tells us, Avo Sikh Satgur ke pyareo gavo sachi bani. This bani is revelation. It's the most powerful thing there is. So by learning God's own words, we're going to benefit ourselves. Imagine from our mouth, we're going to say the same words that Guru Sahib was saying, and we're going to be able to pronounce them very similar if we put effort into learning Gurmukhi to how Guru Sahib themselves said it. Just imagine that power. Guru Arjan Dev themselves will be doing this part from a very young age, and we can do it in the same way. It's amazing, isn't it? And these words, they've not been changed. Guru Sahib themselves made sure that Gurbani was kept the same as when they wrote it. And in fact, in Gurbani, you will see the word Shud. And that word Sud comes up at the end of Asa Divar, other parts. And what that means is that now, Guru Arjan Dev Ji has checked this part after Bhai Gurdas Ji wrote it, because they were the scribe, and they checked it to make sure it had no mistakes. And that's what that word Sud means. That means it's pure. There are a few more reasons for learning Gurmukhi. The first one is actually very easy to learn. Easier than English. With the language that we're speaking in right now, this is actually harder in terms of writing than it is for Gurmukhi. Like for example, kids nowadays, they go to school and they learn phonics. So they learn the word T, T, they learn H, H, and then we say to them, when you put these two together, T, it doesn't become T, it becomes the. See, the kids are like, okay, I have to learn this and then I have to do a combination of this. But that's not how Gurmukhi works. It's beautiful. Every letter always sounds the same. It's phonetic itself. You don't have to make up phonics. It's actually in phonics. So, by learning Gurmukhi, we can pronounce words that we don't know. Now, yes, we need to have Santhya, so we can make sure we pronounce the word in the right way. But a lot of the work is done for us in the letters itself. And the final reason why I think it's important for us to all try and learn Gurmukhi is that actually this allows us to do Seva of the Sangat. What could be more blessed than doing Seva of Guru Sangat and Guru Sikhs? Now, when you can read Gurmukhi, then you can read it out for the Sangat. You can take part in Sukhmani Sahib. You can take part in Asa Divar. You can also take part in reading Hukamnama and doing Seva of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But if we don't know these things, we're forever going to be on the outlines and never being able to contribute to the Sangat. So, it's one of the most important Sevas is to spend time learning Gurmukhi. And I was told this right at the very beginning when I came into Sikhi. I took it to heart. And Maharaji Kirpa, it was very easy to learn. For example, I went to India and in about 4 or 5 months I could read Gurmukhi. Yeah, and that wasn't day in day out learning Gurmukhi. It was just part of my daily routine. So what we're going to try and do in this series is show how to incorporate learning of Gurmukhi into our daily routine. And by putting a little bit of effort in every day, we can learn Gurmukhi. Because it is easy, it is Guru's hukum, and most importantly, it's going to benefit us the most, and we can do seva of the Sangat. So, and let's do ardas to our Guru to help us understand his words and help us to read his words. I'm sure there's many more reasons why we should learn Gurmukhi, and I'm sure that in this I probably made a few mistakes, so my apologies for that. Bhulan chukka dekhiyan bakshin ji. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh. Basically, Gurmukhi is a very simple language to learn. What you've got are 35 or 40 consonants. These make the main sound of Gurmukhi. Yeah? An example of some you've already seen: s, sa, or nanna, which makes the sound n. And also you've got vowel sounds. Okay, there's about 10 of them. You can see them on the right here, and these are added on to the letters to make a sound. An example I've used here, the letter nanna. You can see n, and then the next one is na, then ni, and then ni, and so on and so forth. I'll go through them later. There's no need to memorize the letters right now. There's no need to memorize the sounds right now. All I'm asking for you to understand the concept of how Gurmukhi works, okay? So you get consonants and you add to them vowels. In Punjabi, this is called taking akhar of the 35 akhar and adding to it something which is called a laga matra. Okay, laga means to be joined onto, matra is like a sound. So you got sounds are added on to the letters to make those sounds different. So n, na, ni, nu, nu. But leave those aside for now. As I said, focus on the idea of how it works. Now let's take a sound like n, nanna, and add to it the akhar for k, kaka. So nanna and kaka together make the sound n and k. Put them together and you get nak, nose, nak. Now what if you were to take nak and then at the front of that add nanna again with a little sound which is called a kanna, which makes it into a r. So now it becomes na, na, k, Nanak, as Guru Nanak. Yeah. So this word will come up a lot of times in Gurbani, obviously, Nanak. Now let's take another example of a word that will come up a lot. Das. This sounds up with the word d. The da for the. Now take the akhar the da and we have the other akhar which is s. Das. That becomes letter 10. But that's not what we need. We need das. So we're going to take a vowel, okay, which is a kanna again, and add it to it. It becomes das. Nanak das. That comes up a lot in Gurbani as well, right? Another word you might be familiar with without any vowels is jan. So jan nanak. This is literally jaja, ja plus nanna, na, jan. So you see, it's very simple. For example, we take the akhar gaga, which makes the sound g, add that there, and then we're going to put next to it the akhar for rara, r. So it becomes gar. Now, not gar as in house, but just gar. If we put an onkar, which makes the sound u, next underneath the gaga, it becomes gur. Now, if we add the dolonkar underneath the rara, it becomes ru. So together, this becomes guru. So Guru Nanak. So this is actually a very simple language to learn. Everything is phonetic. All we need to learn is the consonants, which is the 35 akhar and the 5 underneath, which we'll go through in one of our videos, and then also learn the vowels, which again we'll go through. And these vowels, collective word for those is not the 35 akhar but the moharni. So we learn the moharni, which is all the laga matra in Punjabi. And then following that, we just have to learn how to put words together. So how these videos are going to work is we're going to focus on the sounds, which are going to be to understand which sound each letter makes, and the vowels. And then we're going to concentrate upon writing them, and how do we write them, what is the system that Maharaj made. So we're going to have to write each of these, okay, and what similarities there are and what differences there are. And then what we're going to do is go through how to put words together. But also in that we're going to go through things like commonly used words, like we just went through a few now, and also commonly made mistakes on how to pronounce letters and how people can often get into bad habits. And finally, we're going to put all this theory and all the sounds and the writing into practice by learning how to read Gurbani, okay, and that's called Santhya. So we're going to go through Japji Sahib, and in that video we're going to go through learning how to pronounce all the letters in Japji Sahib, and basically, hopefully at the end of that, when we've gone through it, all of us who are going through the video series will be able to read Japji Sahib properly and read it in the original letters that Guruji wrote for us. And that's it. After that, you're free then to be able to read Gurbani slowly yourself, and there are loads of resources available online where you can listen to videos and you can follow it along yourself, and that will then free us to go on to learn more Gurmukhi and be able to explore the treasure that our Guru gave us, this khajana of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and all the Gurbani that we have. So I wish you all the best of luck, and then we're going to go through in the next video the signs of the 35 Akhar. How does that 35 Akhar work? Watching the video on the signs, don't be too worried about memorizing each one. It's just to get you to understand how the sounds are made, what the signs of the alphabet is. However, there are going to be more videos on which letters are very similar to English letters and which letters are combination, and there's going to be another video on which letters are actually unique to Punjabi and how to pronounce those. Okay, good luck. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'd like to warn you, this is my first speech in Gurdwara, so it's probably going to be a bit chaotic. But I've been teaching Punjabi actually for 5 years in a Sikh school, in Guru Nanak Sikh school down the road. So this is as much as I can definitely teach you is Ura Era. Gurmukhi alphabet was actually specially designed for that region from where Gurus would come from Punjab. So second Guru, Guru Angad Dev Ji, compiled. He looked at a couple of scripts which were around, a couple of structures which were around for the alphabets, and he designed this especially for Punjabi language. So it reflects perfectly all the letters which are, all the sounds which are there in Punjabi language, which are used in Gurbani. They're reflected in the 35 Akhar. 20 means 35 Akhar is letters, 35 letters of Gurmukhi alphabet. There's normally 40 on the page, but these are additionals for Arabic and Sanskrit words. So these bottom ones with a dot at the bottom. It's not very hard to learn actually, because Gurmukhi is phonetic. Basically, when one sound in different places it sounds different. That's English. But this, every time you see letter, I don't know, Kaka, it's always going to be Kaka. It's not going to be C or K. It's always going to be K. Yeah, so it's phonetic. So once you learn this and once you learn the vowels, you're good to go. Yeah, it's not that hard. It's not like Chinese where we have whatever, how many thousands of hieroglyphics. So, and for example, children, they find easier to start reading in Gurmukhi rather than English. So this little one, he's not struggling, but he's not fluent in reading English, but he can read Punjabi. So it's much easier to learn. Gurmukhi is much easier to learn. So we have 35 letters, and once we go through the structure of the alphabet, it will be much simpler for you to understand. It's very nicely structured. It's so easy to remember. Once you get the structure in your head, you start to remembering and recognizing letters very quickly. So once you learn this, you don't rely on transliterations. You can pick up things easier, and they will be authentic. It will be really how it's supposed to sound. Once you know how to read it, you'll be able to slowly build up your vocabulary of high frequency words, then more enhance it, and hopefully work towards understanding Gurbani. I'm not saying that I can understand Gurbani perfectly, but some shabads, for example, the one which we have for Hukamnama now, was quite easy to understand. You could it was a lot of high frequency words, because in Gurbani there's a lot of these words that repeat from shabad to shabad. And once you start reading, you recognize them and you remember them, and most of them are same to Punjabi. So you can understand shabads from there which is read. You can understand that, connect to shabad straight away without needing somebody to translate it. I will be looking at the letters which start from the second line, basically the center of the alphabet. From the second line, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth line of the alphabet. I'm going to be talking of this because it's the core of the alphabet. 20 akhar, so it's 35 letters, 5 letters per line, 7 lines. What we're going to do, let's just say the first line of the alphabet. Let's just say it together. Probably I say it, and if some people don't know it, you can repeat to those people who know it. Just listen or repeat with me as well. So first letter k, 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 k. K. Come on, guys. K. 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 G. G. K. Ng. Okay, now if we say the same sounds, K, K, G, K, can you feel where in your mouth they're coming from? K, K, just keep saying it and tell me where is the place in your mouth where they're coming from. K, K, G, K, Ng. Can you feel that they all are coming from the same place in your mouth, yeah? K, K is sort of like above the end of your tongue, yeah? K, K, sort of towards the end of your tongue and a bit like in the middle, yeah? K, K. So if you see all of letters in this line, they come from the same place in your mouth, yeah? K, K, G, K, Ng. So your tongue doesn't change position, yeah? K, your mouth doesn't change position, same position. And the only thing that changes is that how you put K is just normal K, K, with a bit of emphasis, with a breath, yeah? G, you put a bit more voice in it. G, you put a bit of kick from the stomach, yeah? G, like a bit from your abdominal, G, a little bit more, yeah? And then Ng is a nasal sound. So we already see, it's pretty amazing. It's all these letters. So Guru Angad Dev Ji looked at the letters and structured them in the way so it's very easy for us to remember. So K, it's at the back of the tongue, K. Then if you go to the next line, Ch, Ch, Cha, Ch, Ch, Cha, Ch, J, Ja, J, Ch, Ja, Ch, Nya, Nya. So Ch, Ch, J, Ch. So where are these letters? Where are these letters in your mouth? Ch, Ch. At the front, yeah, behind your teeth. Ch, Ch. So a little bit behind your teeth. Again, same thing, isn't it? They all are in one place in your mouth. Your mouth doesn't change position. So you might think, oh, it's totally random, but it's totally unrandom. It's totally structured, perfectly structured. And now we start seeing that if you look at Kaka and Chicha, is the same type of sound. It's sort of soft voice, yeah? Kaka, but there's no emphasis, extra emphasis of the breath. There's no extra emphasis of louder voice like Ch, J. J is a bit sort of more, you could say, aggressive sound. Ch, J. J is a bit more like pushy. I know it's hard to explain these things, but I'm trying to. So, Kaka, Chicha, there's Kaka, Chicha. Yeah, so you see on the second column, I'm talking now columns. First column, just soft sound. K, Ch. Second column, K, Ch. Yeah, or Sh. Or some people say it's different. So you can say first column, soft sound. Second column, a bit with a breath. Yeah? K, Ch, Cha. A bit of breath. Then third column, G, G, J. So you can say voice emphasis. G, J, J is a bit more pronounced. And then we're coming to the fourth column, which is most confusing for English-speaking people, because they have got special names in linguistics of letters, but I can't remember right now this word. Basically, it's a mixture of first column sound and a third column sound. So if you say ch, j, ch, ja, and you put a bit of a kick to it, ch, ja. I always pretend that I'm sort of pushing it with my stomach, ch, ja, ch, ja, ch, ja. So there's a bit of like a tone, ch, ja, ch, ja. So you start with ch, finish with j, but its sound is in the middle, ch, ja. So this is our fourth column, and the fifth column is always nasal sounds. In these five lines, these are nasal sounds. Nga, nya, na, na, mama is all nasal sounds. So now we can pretty much, even without me telling you the third line, if I just tell you the first line, we should be able to figure out all the rest of the letters. Now we're coming to these two lines with loads of T's and loads of D's, which is most confusing as well to loads of people. Kaka, chicha, then tenka. Tenka. With tenka, how we do it is that we have our tongue up. So if we imagine our mouth, that's our teeth, that's our palate. Our tongue is like this. That's our tongue. Tenka. So our tongue is touching the upper palate, but it's not touching it like this. It's touching it like this. It's curved up, yeah, curved backwards. Tenka. Tenka is not English T, which is, if you say English T is T, it's the tongue is like this. It's touching above your teeth, yeah. T, yeah, it's touching above your teeth. So it's is your tongue is curved up, yeah. Then English T is T, and then we go have T. That's Punjabi T. That's the next line. That's this line. So let's talk about tenka. Tongue back, yeah. Tenka T. Tenka T. But this is the only letter which doesn't sound like cha. It doesn't repeat because it becomes a rude word, yeah. So they didn't call it. They didn't call it that. They call it tenka. So, ta. Ta. Your tongue is same position. Ta. Yeah? Your tongue is in the same position. Then da. Tongue is the same. Da. Then da. Yeah, like this. Start from the first da. And then anana. Come on, loud. Anana. You pass. Again, same thing. You see, with the emphasis of breath. Which is more voice. Which is mixture of first one and third one with a tone. And then they all are in the same position. Your tongue is again curved backwards. Yeah. So we're going through three rows. Next row. This is again different. It's not English T. It's your tongue is flat. Ta. So it's good exercise. We're saying tenka, then English T, and then ta. It's really it's confusing, but it's a good exercise if you want to get your pronunciation good in Punjabi. Ta. I'm not very good with English one here. Fifth line. First letter looks like 3. Yeah? Ta. Ta. Same thing. Soft with breath emphasis. Da. Ta. Na. Can you see? Tongue didn't change. Mouth didn't change. Just changed nasal sound. First voice, soft voice, then breath, then slightly more emphasis on voice, then the da, and then nasal na. Now we're coming to this line, sixth line. Papa. It's on your lips, yeah? Papa. And the next one is papa. Sorry, papa. So like pa, some people say fafa, but it's not actually fafa. In actual alphabet is papa. So they write as ph, but it's papa. Baba. So again, baba, mama. So you can see it's perfect structure. Well, this part of the alphabet is so easy. Once you understand this, It's structured by columns, by rows, by columns, and also I think it's structured how far in your mouth it is. So kakka is most further, chicha in the middle, tenka, the tongue is coming out, tutta in the end of the tongue, and papa is on your lips. It's perfect. It's going in your mouth, how it's structured in your mouth, where the sound's coming from. It's amazing. Yeah, so that's the main body of the alphabet. Then if we go now to the first line, first three letters, ura, 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 ada, ada, is the same as this ana. When we have tongue like this and it comes ada, 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 ura, ura, era, iri. Yeah, so these three letters, they are vowels carriers. They can have sound by themselves as well, but they're not consonants, they're vowels. But they also carry the matre are the vowels in Punjabi. And then last two letters here, sasa and haha. Sasa, sa, ha, ha, ha. It's very simple, easy letters. I think they are not in this system because there's no other letters which are sound similar. They are like unique letters. Last line here, not the last, second last, the number 7. Ya, ya, ra, 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 la, 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 va, 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 ara, ra, ara. Who can tell me how are they structured? Just say it. Ya, ra, la, va, ra. In your mouth again, yeah? Ya is the most furthest up, then ra, la in the end, va is on your teeth and lips, and ra is the coming out. So even the last line, which are odd letters, it's all structured up to the last bit. So if you think about this, I mean, how long did it take us? Maybe 15 minutes to go through all the alphabet. And once you practice it a little bit, I mean, how I started learning Punjabi is that I was really interested in kirtan and I wanted to understand it more. So, but I was in Russia at the time, so there was no really way for me to learn Punjabi. Because now on the internet there's quite a few resources how you can learn basics of Punjabi. But I started off, I subscribed to Daily Hukumnama from Darbar Sahib, and they send you translate English, Punjabi version, and then translation and transliteration. So I was just looking at those and started to figure out, oh, this must mean this must mean this. And then slowly you build up words like this. And then you start recognizing letters, you start recognizing, oh, sasa, okay, yes, sasa. And then there's another one looks like that. So you start remembering. At first it's few letters you remember. And then once you have to make this effort saying, I actually want to learn this, it's not that hard. I mean, it's actually not that hard. We were teaching these kids in France. They were 12 and 11. And they, within like 2 hours, they were able to make words together just from looking at Punjabi for the first time. So it's not that hard even for adults to learn it. So if we look at the last line now, this they're called Parich Bindi, so dot at the feet of the letter. These letters are extension of the alphabet, and they're made for special words. Like for example, in Jab side, there's a lot of words from Arabic. So they got zazza, they got ghaga. These letters are from Farsi or Pashto, whatever, from those languages. So they needed to make those to accommodate those sounds. So first one is same as sasa, but sase parwij bindi. So dot at the bottom of the sasa is called shasha, sh. Then it's same as kakka, but with the dot is kakka, is even more hard. So there's kakka. Kakka, we put a bit of emphasis with breath, and then this one is even more. Kakka, 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 ha. Then gaga, r is a r sound, r. And then this is jaji, parwij bindi, zaza, z. And then this is fafa. This is papa, and this is fafa. So yeah, that's why some people say pate rather than fate, because it's papa rather than fafa. But well, so yeah, fafa. So these are extensions. Once you learn this, you'll be able to recognize letters, recognize words, and this is a very good way to explain to maybe an older person. Like if somebody an adult wants to learn Punjabi, this is a good way to explain the structure. The next step from this would be practicing your vowels, because once you learn the consonants, there's also vowels. And basically, once you've gone through that, that's it. That's it. So we have 35 letters, and we have 10 vowels on top, and you're done. It's really, I mean, I think it's not hard, and I think everybody really needs to try to make an effort to do it. if you imagine, you know, this word hararas, God juice, which is inside the gurbani. How can we taste the juice if we don't actually drink it? How to drink it is we say it with our mouth. Yeah, we say it through our mouth, we express it. So it's good enough if somebody else drinks the juice and they say the juice was nice, it was really sweet. But if you don't drink it yourself, you're not going to taste it. Yeah, so taste gurbani by saying it. So this was very basic introduction to Gurmukhi alphabet. Thank you very much. Please forgive any mistakes or things I might have said which were not appropriate. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.